the person of Professor G.O. Ajibade. He's from the Department of Linguistics and African Language. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you all for coming. I promise us it's going to be a good time. So please be mindful how you smile, because we have a professional in our midst. So if you look at me, I'm smiling and covering my teeth. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. It is indeed a big honor and a big privilege to be here. Institute of Cultural Studies and this program as well acknowledged. So being on this platform is a big honor. In addition to the presentation today, I would want to acknowledge my co-authors of this work that are also present. Please, you are here, just raise your hands. Please do, they are co-authors here. So as you're asking us questions, we'll all together be collectively responding. Why did we decide to do this work as a team? I would acknowledge that this piece of work is sponsored by the IBR grant from OAU. We thank OAU for that. But why did we decide to do this piece of work? I'm sorry, will the slides be up? All right. Okay, in the absence of the slide, I'll go ahead. Why did we decide to do this piece of work? We became curious because for ages, dentistry in Ife is 50 years old, over 40 years old. And dentistry in Nigeria is over 50 years old, starting with the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. But since the history of this work, there is consistent evidence that the use of dental clinic is low in Nigeria. And even the records from the Southwest shows that it is low. And so what does that mean? If year after year, 40, 50 years, we'll consistently say the dental service is low, without investigating why, I don't think we're going to make any progress. So our team decided to explore what might be the cultural nuance or the traditional nuance that otherwise may have influenced the low use of modern dental services. We don't think that dental health is not important, but why is the dental services poorly used? In starting this piece of work, we tend to appreciate that communication matters. What you tell people over and over and over again will influence the way they trust and believe in things. And so we started by exploring the Yoruba culture. At this point, I want to recognize Professor Alabi's excellent piece of work that showed that oral health was important for the Yoruba culture. Rather than looking at Nigeria as a whole, we started and chose to focus on the Yoruba culture. And I'd like to tell you, share with you what we found in terms of Yoruba culture and the mouth. We noted that Yoruba culture places significant importance on the mouth, as it's viewed as a biological organ for not only eating, but speaking. For the Yoruba culture, the mouth is authority, it's morality, it's communal identity, and it embeds metaphysical beliefs, oral traditions, and social practices. Oracy such as fables, myths, leads, and proverbs are central to Yoruba life, and it serves as a tool for moral education and cultural perseverance. Therefore, telling stories tend to shape the behavior of Yoruba people. And not only does it shape it, it also informs our communal value as a people. Proverbs in particular are succinct expression of ancient wisdoms. And so when the Yoruba people say things in proverb, we believe in it because it is rooted in wisdom of old people. And it conveys morals, caution, and social norms. So this narrative tends to guide our behavior as Yoruba people as a whole and individual Yorubas as a person, reinforcing the values and shaping individual behavior and identity. And within the Yoruba cosmology, the mouth has both physical and spiritual entity. The mouth is called Ashe, which means authority, and it is viewed as a channel to bless and as well as to curse. Proverbs and Ifa verses reveals how deeply oral health is intertwined with spiritual well-being. So when you want to be well spiritually, the Yoruba appreciates that the health of the mouth is also equally important to the health of the spirit. And so it underscores the belief that the mouth impacts persons and communal success. So this long-standing practice of oral hygiene in Yoruba land highlights the importance that Yoruba people place on the cleanliness of the oral cavity and oral health as a whole. If the Yorubas believe so much in oral health and oral wellness, then why is dental service utilization for oral health very low? We have found reports that less than 20 to 48% of the Yoruba population has ever been to a dentist before. If you look at geographical populations, it's still the same. Whether it's Enugu or Lagos or Ile-Ife, dental service utilization is low. If you look at populations, it's low. If you look at pregnant women, where we do know that poor oral health affects the adverse outcome of childbirth. When your oral health is poor, the risk of having premature baby, small baby is high. Despite this knowledge, oral services is low. If you look at it in school population, it is low. Look at it among medical elites, it is low. Look at it among civil servants, it is low. Look at it among undergraduate students, it is low. So why? We found out that when people make dental visits, it's usually at the tail end, when there's pain, when things seem to be otherwise too late, when there's only need for emergency care. At the end of the day, they end up losing the teeth rather than preventing the loss. And then at the end of the day, the dentist is synonymous to yoni yoni. Whereas it's because people come late at the point when there is nothing that can be done other than to remove the tooth. So to study this, what we did was to, an unusual practice, we formed a community of practice. We sent an advert out to people who might be interested in the study. We sent it on WhatsApp, we sent it on the social media and asked people to join us. So we had a community of practice of about 113 people to look at this topic. Why? What do they know? What do they understand? And in doing that, people also reflected on their personal experiences and their history. So we pulled the dialogue together for over 6 weeks. What is it that they know? Of course, once again, acknowledging Professor Alabi of Demographic and Faculty of Social Sciences, whose paper formed the foundation of this work. I want to acknowledge other authors and contributors that may otherwise be online. Thank you for your excellent communication during this period. So the discussion we had over that 6 weeks include dialogues around proverbs, songs, folk songs, Ifa, caucus, that had to do with oral and oral health in all its ramifications. We also looked at articles that were published, and then we analyzed it and generated themes that we felt was important. At the end of the day, we got 2 major themes and 6 sub-themes, and that is what I will be discussing here today. Please note that being here today is so that we can hear from you and validate what we have found. If there are other things that we might be missing, we depend on your wisdom, those on ground and those online, to please share with us your insight. So when we analyzed this extensive discussion by 113 people online, we found that one sub-theme that was very strong in terms of cultural significance is proverbs, songs, and folklores. Yoruba proverbs, songs, and folklore often link oral health to wealth, to beauty, and social standing. For instance, Oriki, the Oriki, which means praise name, Eni Funjowo, which means teeth, whiter teeth is of more value than money, symbolizes the value on white, clean teeth. And this is synonymous in Yoruba land to prosperity and respectability. Similarly, this one, I told you you're going to teach me to wanti. Thank you. Yes. So that tells us that it is not about the quantity of the teeth that matter. Even if it's just 2 teeth left in the mouth, as long as they are white. Am I right? Okay. And firm. Thank you. I'll add that one. I didn't have it. As long as they are white and firm, the number does not matter. So this underscores a culture that emphasizes on dental aesthetics over structural health. Dental aesthetics is prime in Nigeria. And many of this narrative reflected that when we studied it. We had fufuni, iyenyi. Whiteness is the dignity of the teeth, which aligns that whiteness with honor and respect, once again framing oral aesthetics as an integral part of personal and community identity. There's another one that says, Enyi buruku ti inu igwe jeyo, which connotes that even when there's problem with the teeth, any problem with the teeth will end up having salt, to taste that salt as a solution. And we'll see where that also becomes relevant, because what you see is that there's a lot of home care cure for what is seemingly oral health problems. Chikoronyi is another popular song, which says, brush your teeth when you wake up. And this traditional song highlights the importance of daily oral health practices in Yoruba culture. Second, we looked at taboo and stigma. Certain dental conditions, such as overlapping teeth or erupting the tooth, upper teeth first, are considered taboo and has spiritual connotation. And we'll talk about this. I'll say some of the quotes. In Yoruba culture, overlapping teeth are regarded as spiritually significant, often believed to mark a child as a witch or possessed, necessitating corrective measures such as removal of the tooth. Then there's an abusive phrase in Yoruba. It's a whole compound together, not one. Akpa, obun, olorun, elenurirun. The four goes together. It's not just the elerirun. So once you say elerirun, it also connotes the akpa, obun, olorun, because the elerirun is the last of the four together. And these derogative adjectives carry a lot of weight in describing a person's attribute, judgmental abilities, and societal standing, particularly when discussing an important thing. So when you said this person is elenurirun, it means it's everything, it's akpa. Is everything together. It's derogatory for that person. We also noted that oral hygiene and aesthetics are markers of respectability, with terms like elenurirun, which is bad breath or smelly mouth, critiquing an individual's hygiene and character, reinforcing the cultural weight of oral health in societal judgment. And one person said, absolutely correct. When we were young, if anybody said something and it came to pass, my grandfather would say, Abi omo, olori elenyi okay. Is this child a child with an upper teeth? So it is part of Yoruba culture to associate spiritual significance with the upper teeth. The removal of some of these negatively associated mouth problems are done secretly. Same goes for any okay. Child is expected to bring forth the lower teeth first, and bringing out the upper teeth is an abnormality, and they would seek to remove it in secret before people discover it. So what you see is that stigmatized oral conditions like overlapping teeth, people seek to correct them in health services, in health care centers. And when there's a lot of stigma, it might even make them hide the condition, enough for them not to even seek care. The third thing we found is home remedies. We had found that the Yoruba has a deeply rich tradition with an array of herbal remedies for oral health that they can readily access in the house. This includes all forms of chewing stick, emigbegiri, oriata, oriata, okay? We call it oriata. I thought it's pepper. Arigo, pepper, arunjera. Emma binusi mejo. Osan wewe, isusun, afunshe trees. You know, we have a lot of Yoruba chewing stick form that are readily used to clean the teeth. So what you find is that the routine use of these traditional remedies are readily assessed in the home as first-hand medical recourse for the prevention and management of oral problems. One of them is salt, that is acknowledged as an antidote to toothache. Once there's toothache, they ask you to gargle with salt. And that also goes with the proverb that "Enyi buruku ti inu igo jeyo." Then we have charcoals and ground ceramics that are also used for the mouth with a focus on whiteness. You want to use abrasive under the focus of whiteness. I do welcome you're welcome, my neighbor. So dental clinics are generally not popular among the uneducated, as many tend to realize that they can find the solution to their dental problem in the house. And that, in its way, is shortcuts. The fourth thing we found is spiritual and herbal health. In Yoruba cosmopology, the mouth is both physical and spiritual entity. It is associated with Ashe, which is authority, and viewed as blessing. The Yoruba house long-standing practice for maintaining oral hygiene, including the use of this chewing stick from local plants, which in itself has antibacterial properties. So the practice, which is rooted in traditions, I like that the communities emphasize cleanliness and oral health. And finally, that the traditional remedies for teeth and oral health are rooted in a culture that is rich in spiritual practice. Examples include the use of African cherry bark for treating toothache and gum inflammation. And Ifa divination is used to diagnose and treat oral health issues, with spiritual beliefs linking oral conditions to ancestral information. The second thing we tend to find is issues around the modern practice, and we had two sub-themes. The normalization of pathologies. You find that what dentists call pathologies such as the pocket or diastema are celebrated in the Yoruba culture. Ejiwumi, for example, is I like the diastema. In dentistry, I'm sure everybody sees my own Eji. Amongst my peers, when I travel, it's an abnormality. But in Yoruba, it is well celebrated. We even have people coming into the dental clinic to create the diastema. And even when it's small, they want it bigger. Okay. Another thing that you might find strange is that what we normally we take as normal and routine, the picking of the teeth with chewing stick is an abnormality. It's dental problem. It's a pocket. I remember discussing this with a colleague from the East over table. I was just sitting and everybody was just picking the teeth. And he says, in the East, if you want to discuss money, you are not serious until you have put toothpick in your mouth. That is when, once they see you with toothpick, that is when they know that you are talking about money in the East. So there's an adage in Yoruba that says, Afi ori wewu, afi erigijobi, which means even as we grow to be elderly, we would expect the gum to use which is synonymous that as you are aging, it is the gum that we will start to use to eat. And so that is normal for the teeth to fall out. So it's normalized that as an old age, you do not have the teeth in the mouth. Another thing is that this routine use of these traditional remedies, it's a norm. We use chewing stick, we use it, all these other things that otherwise keep the bacteria low in the mouth. You use it routinely. So what is a pathology for us in the dental clinic is subnormal problem amongst the people, keeping them away from the hospital until it becomes a major problem. In Yoruba also, the second theme is the resistance to modern culture. In Yoruba culture, the arrangement and appearance of the teeth are believed to have spiritual significance and that it can affect people's destiny and personality. So the dental clinic is not generally popular among the educated Yorubas because many tend to realize there's a problem with their teeth until whatever problem is your teeth is not a problem until when they cannot eat. So they can cope, or it's only when it is bad and they cannot eat that they decide to visit the dentist. And we had a participant say that there are concussions that I can give you that will make you never visit the dentist until you die. Another reason I believe people do not routinely use dental clinic is that most clinics are also quite quick to condemn bad teeth. And the end result always is that they want the tooth removed, where otherwise people feel it can be treated herbally. So like I noted, we see that cultural beliefs and practices actually influence the low use of dental services. These cultural nuances in terms of remedies that are accessible, taboos, and spiritual associations with oral health shapes our behavior towards professional dental care, reflecting the social preference for dental aesthetics over structural health. Once the teeth is white, is looking functional, we're happy with it, rather than thinking of the problems that we modern people think are problem. Otherwise, it's not a problem for people. Once it's white and it's there, less so the number, the few that are there once they are white and important, that's all that matters. However, stigma is a problem. There are conditions in the Yoruba community that is stigmatized, but rather than getting them into the office early, which is the problem of stigma, they hide it. They hide it. And so when they continue to hide it, because once you see something negative about the oral health, it is a stigma to the whole being of that person. You have an oral health problem, it means there's something wrong with your dignity, your person, your social value. And so when they hide it, they stay away from the dental clinic too long, until when things are very bad, that you start seeing them in the clinic. These two big themes that we found, we can relate to the health belief model, which shows that individual beliefs about the likelihood of getting a particular health condition and that the effectiveness of taking action to reduce the risk or seriousness of this condition, as well as the perception on the obstacles and costs associated with taking this health condition serious, is what triggers an action. And therefore, the populace reliance on traditional medicine reflects a low perception of the severity of dental issues. And therefore, they do not readily run to the dental clinic to find help. I think what my study and the study of my team is showing is that there's a need to integrate dental practices with modern dentistry and to bridge this gap by addressing and understanding cultural belief. And by understanding cultural belief, when people even seemingly come late to the clinic, you can understand where they're coming from and reflect with them rather than chastise them more for coming late. But more importantly, it becomes very important to understand these nuances and start to educate our persons based on their nuances, so as to strengthen the practice in a way that it not only keeps the aesthetics, but it also keeps the number of the teeth in the mouth. On that note, I would like to say thank you for listening and looking forward to further discussion on this. Thank you very much.
I'd like us to appreciate our presenter once more. That's a very wonderful one. So without wasting time, because I believe with the number of colleagues in the house and guests from all over the world, I believe we are in for a very inclusive discussion of today's topic. So let me just yield the floor to Professor Ajibade, who will give us more insights into perspectives into what has been presented to us. Then I believe that we would keep our notes so that as soon as Professor Ajibade is done with the discussion, we will begin to have comments and questions to further validate what the presenter has done. I think Professor Ajibade will be comfortable there, or you want to come here? It's okay, Dad.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Standing on the existing protocols, I want to thank the presenter and the authors of this very presentation. I'm sorry, I have cracked voice, but I will try as much as possible to be audible enough. Yeah, the topic is topical. That is Yoruba cultural belief, tradition, and utilization of modern dental services for oral health. And the aims of the study, said by the presenter, is to explore the intersection or interplay of Yoruba cultural beliefs, tradition, and oral health practices, focusing on how these elements might influence the utilization of modern oral health practices. Here, the authors have identified two major themes, that is cultural practices and the modern utilization of oral health. In addition to that, they have identified 6 thematic areas: cultural significance, that is one of the something, yeah. The areas identified are proverbs, songs, and folklore as one, even though I have a question about that. Taboos and stigmatized conditions. The third one they call home-based remedies. The fourth one, spiritual and herbal practices. And the fifth one is normalization of pathologies. While the sixth is cultural resistance to modern dentistry. From their findings, honestly speaking, they have brought out points that are, manifesting or revealing social reality of Yoruba people, their attitude, their behavioral patterns to what we call the treating of teeth. However, I have a challenge linking dental to mouth, because in Yoruba they will say eno and eyin. Mostly you merge the two together, the two were treated together. And if you really want to talk about buccal cavity, where is the tongue? Yeah, because if you are talking about eno, which is translated as mouth, we have the tongue there, and we have teeth, and we have the lips there as well. These are components of the buccal cavity. So I'm sure you will shed more light to that in this very wonderful topic and discussion. Yeah, the study establishes the existing Yoruba philosophy and world view about mouth, that many people have worked on the importance, the space and place of mouth in the Yoruba cosmology and cosmography. That it goes beyond just using your mouth or teeth to drink, to eat. Yeah, you have established that, and you have reinstated the interplay between mouth as a spiritual organ or entity and as a pathological entity as well. Yeah, the use of folklore, I would like you to take note of that as well, because when you are identifying the thematic areas, your number one is proverbs, songs, and folklore. The question one can ask, most especially as a literary person, a literary critic, who is versatile in Yoruba literature and orature. When we ask, what's the difference between songs and folklore? Because folklore encompasses all these things that we are, all these genres that we are talking about. Proverbs, songs, poetry, they are all folkloric in Yoruba studies. So you have to note that. And I love how you have ended the presentation, because your presentation is topical because it has revealed the necessity of indigenous practices, indigenous heritage, and the modern practices. Yeah, we need, honestly speaking, for us to have a complete and all healing system, especially in regards to treating of our mouth, of our teeth. There is the need for us to look at the combination of these two areas. Each one cannot be compartmentalized, but there is the need for us to understand that we can make use of the duo in successful healing or treatment of our mouth. I want to go to some of your data. Please, I would like you to take care of Yoruba words. At times not well presented to reveal real or original Yoruba words like agbo fowo pawu, agbo ferigi jobi. Yeah, it's not how foriwewu or whatever. The Yoruba will say it agbo fowo pawu, agbo ferigi jobi. And to the Yoruba people, honestly speaking, is considered normal because it is expected of you when you are old. Teeth will be removing one by one because you are returning to Mother Earth. It started by coming out one after the other when you are coming into the world to live and fulfill what Olodumare has designed you to be. So when you have done that one, then you have to go back and report to Olodumare. That is the idea of teeth that are removed. Old age is something that should be physical, something that you see. Yoruba will say, Omi nígbà sáà lọ́wọ́ iná, ọ̀wàrà òjò nígbà sáà lọ́wọ́ ọ̀gbẹlẹ̀, ọmọ bíbí ọkọ níní ní ògbà títàn yanyanyan lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́mọge. Which by the time you are growing old, there are certain things, and I'm sure that the modern earth traditions believe that so much as well. So when someone's have just irigi, it's not a bad sign to the Yoruba people because that is considered normal. It's normal, not no attachment to witchcraft or whatever. That is what. Then the other time when you are talking about awuyare, that is the eruption or the first teeth from Oke. It's not a taboo to the Yoruba people. It is an attribute of a specially made human beings by Olodumare. That is why you will hear statements like awuyare kan kiyiwitie komashe. It's not a taboo and it can never be linked to witchcraft. It's Yoruba philosophy, Yoruba worldview that is provable to the people who believe it is true. And don't joke with them. So it's not a taboo. It cannot be linked to witchcraft. I have some, yes, the text that you have used as examples. Were they rendered originally in English or Yoruba? Okay, they were using both because some Yoruba words were misspelled, some were not, yeah. So you have to note that as well so that it will enhance the beauty of this beautiful presentation. Then there is an area that I would like you authors to look into. Link the issue of enorion, that is smelling mouth or whatsoever, to death, the concept of death. Iku. Yeah. Because Yoruba will say, enorion segini ya ju ikulo. Enorion ya ju ikulo. To have a smelling mouth is better than being dead. So link all these things together when you are talking about the treatment of teeth. I will soon stop. Anyway, what you call the traditional song highlight, that is Jiko Roni. I think it's one of the songs coined by the early teachers, the colonial masters period, in order to be teaching the pupils in this, in the primary schools. Then the other area concerning Elenuriun lo ni amuyare. Elenuriun ló ní àmúyá ẹ̀. So it has meaning even in Yoruba philosophy as well. There is something. Oh yes, I'm going to stop here, but I would like you to take cognizance of this. In one of your presentations, you said in Yoruba cosmology, the mouth is both a physical and spiritual entity. It is associated with Ashe, beautiful, and it is viewed as a channel for blessings or causes, beautiful. But now talking about Ifa, there is no Ifa fast that is talking about this here. There is one Ifa verse that says, when they came bogun ile mo bogun ile ebo mi oru, when they borisha oja mo borisha oja ebo mi oda, when they came bolubobo tiri boba bebo, mo wa bi won kini nje olubobo tiri boba bebo, wọ́n ní ẹnu wọn ní nje olubobo tiri boba bebo ke la nbo nífẹ̀ẹ́, ẹnu wọn là nbo nífẹ̀ẹ́, ǹjẹ́ mo ti wálé mo ti wá náà, ẹnu wọn kò mọ̀mọ̀ lè rí mi bájà, ẹnu wọn. So it's not idea of witchcraft at all. And this one, you have to link it to the buccal cavity, link it to a kind of concerted statements, pronouncements. That is the idea of Ashe. Then talk about communality. Link the voice of the people matters in success and sustainability of any society. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank Professor Ajibade for that very educative insight and perspective to the topic of today. Let me please welcome chairman of this webinar, Professor O.A. Ogumba, the Dean, Faculty of Environmental Design and Management, who is standing in for Professor Olubola Babalola. It's okay. Professor Olubola Babalola, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, who is unavoidably absent. I know Professor Ogumba was just coming out of an examination, I guess. So, so you are welcome, sir. Before we will throw the discussion open, because I'm sure our colleagues, both online and on-site, are itching to to unleash a number of comments and questions. I believe that will strengthen the paper, you know, because for me, I have one fundamental question, which I will just ask before I drop the mic to coordinate and leave the coordination to the chairperson. My question simply is that, Prof, you are welcome, sir. My question is that, isn't there a distinction between Enu and Eyi? And I think there is. And so for me, the paper lunging the two together appears to be problematic. So I think if you want to deal with Eyi, let's deal with Eyi. If you want to do with Enu, there are so many things that we need to be talking about Enu, just like Professor Ajibade talked about. Ahon wambe, Eriki wambe, Ite wambe, Ito wambe, and many other things that we cannot be mentioning. So we need to be specific about what that paper is actually focusing on, so that it will not be too broad in nature. So I'd like to ask Professor Ogumba to just give us just few words of being the chairman of today, so that we've been on record.
Okay, I very sincerely apologize for coming late. I hope I'm forgiven.
Yes.
Yes.
Monetize it.
Oh, I should monetize it. Okay. Yes. I'm here representing the DVC academic who is out of town on official business, and being her successor, but not successor as DVC, but in the faculty, being her dean, she asked me to come and represent her, and I'm very happy to do. I was very happy to do that, and I'm very happy to do that, given especially that my late dad was once a director of this institute. Yes. Long ago, maybe 25 years ago or something like that. Yes. And also because the current director we're in the same church. And I've always been watching him with admiration. He has done well. He has done well. Thank you very much for all you do, sir. Even this program, is it every month or so? Every month. Yes, I mean, well done, sir. God will grant you the grace. I've apologized to the two speakers too about this talk, which I found very interesting. I know that the Yorubas used to use Bako. What led them to it? What were Adam and Eve, alias Odudua? And because I usually used to say when welcoming people to my faculty that this is the land where the world began. It is the land where Odudua, alias Adam, climbed down from heaven with a cock and with sand, and everywhere was water. But then he now spread the sand, and that is where we can now stand on solid ground. And I usually say, please feel free to take off your shoes, because where you are is holy ground. And yes, sir. So this is holy ground. But then, in the context of what we are looking at today, what did Odudua and people of his time use to clean their mouths? Lions that always eat without washing their teeth, don't they have toothache? But I'm interested in the Yoruba conception of washing teeth. And then from the pharmaceutical point of view, those in pharmacognosy, they're always looking at all these type of things. What is it in Bako that is good for the teeth? Because I know that a lot of pharmacognosists, the wolves and so on, usually they will allow them to come around, and they'll be trying to, the pharmacognosists, they try to find out things from them. So has something been done concerning the Bako? And what other things do the Yorubas use? And so on and so forth. Very interesting type of thing. And given the background I have with my late dad, I'm interested in, I'm sure you must have had some relationship with him, sir. A lot of relationship. I'm interested in all these things. Maybe I'll come and consult you after the apologies, which you have so kindly granted me. So, sir, thank you very much for inviting the DVC academic, and thank you for forgiving me. I appreciate you, sir.
And thank us for bringing you back home. But I think before we start our discussion, let me ask Professor Ogumba to be preparing for his paper, Odudua alias Adam. So we will be glad to see the premises that led to Odudua as being alias Adam. it will be of interest to all the Institute of Cultural Studies. So we have a lineup till about April. So from May, we can take a date. So he has accepted the challenge. So we want to see how Oduduwa is alias Adam. That would be a very interesting paper. Thank you very much. So without wasting much of our time, we are going to take as many contributions as possible, but I would suggest that we structure it this way. Usually, we started the program to time, and a number of our colleagues, maybe because of their interest in the paper today, they even have joined online since 3 p.m. And I know quite a number who are from outside Nigeria who have done so. And so they will also be eager. So I would like us to just give 2. Let's do it 2-2. So 2 online, 2 on site, 2 online, 2 on site. So the technical team would help me. Are there people online who have signified to speak? So give us 1. So we want to take 2. Then thereafter I'll come back on site to take 2. So who is the first? Okay. Okay, the first I'm seeing here is Olubumi Bernard. So please unmute Olubumi Bernard from University of Ghent in Belgium. So please make your presentation quickly. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Prof. I am not presenting. I wanted to make a comment and also ask a question. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you. Please go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you, Professor Upong, for representing us. I am one of the authors for the this presentation, so I also wanted to represent our own side of the paper. Thank you very much, and thank you, Professor Ajibade, for that wonderful intervention and the insight into what we have to do and what we've done so far. But Prof. Upong, I wanted to ask, because I came across some things lately, and I thought that I probably will bring it to this platform about veneers and how they may also be recognized within the Yoruba culture now. Because when we talk about Yoruba culture, we cannot just talk about what it used to be. The culture is alive, it's living, it's dynamic, and it's taking in new things. And so I wanted to ask, what is the place of veneer in the practice of modern dental or dental services in Yoruba society now? Because when we see white teeth, yes, the white teeth represents a lot of things. It represents wealth, it represents health, and it represents very good social standing. But how many of the how much of the whiteness we see in the teeth now are natural? So when I see a teeth, sets of teeth that is too white, I begin to suspect veneer. So I wanted to ask, what is the place of this new invention in the Yoruba society, and how they treat your dentals, how they manage dental health? And I ask because you are a dentist and you would know that now. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you very much. I think the comments and questions are well taken. So let's take none yet online. So I'd like to start with Yeye Erelu Tuashe, who has signified Tuashe. Who else? Nobody else. Okay. No, I mean online. So after Erelu Tuashe, Dr. Mrs. Vale, Professor sorry, and then Fajo, then just 4. Let's quickly take the 4 quickly.
Thank you very much indeed, Prof. What a wonderful session. I am Erelu Tuwashe. Tuwashe belongs to the Royals of Ijebu-Ode. I'm just sitting here thinking, haven't been in England since the age of 17 and still there as a stateswoman. I'm listening to you and thinking, am I hearing right? Whilst we are trying to decolonize in England, what is happening here? I have been a policymaker for many years, 40 years in UK politics, elected and served. And wonderful. You are trying to encourage the Yorubas to use the Western system. Dentistry, that is what it is. Before the Western dentists, did we not have one? I congratulate you, madam. Although sitting here, I'm boy you ba. Kini kono ofo omo ekisi wa. Ishanika lo kodi kia. Right. Are you with me? You have to start with what you had. Investigate that properly. And please get away from spirituality. Oh, I come from a background of many matriarchs. They lived to be minimum 99. When I was young, Edu, and you know, in England, I had to represent someone in court. We have somebody called Yalagbo. She sells more Paco and Agbo in London. And I shall continue to support her. Why do you want to get our people into the Western system without wanting to ensure within the Western system you preserve what is ours? It cannot be one or the other. It has to be getting those who were here before to be able to continue to deliver services regardless of the fact that they weren't trained like you. The difference between the past and the present is the Westernization. Are we aiming for modernization or are we aiming for colonization? Don't get me wrong. I admit that Olodumare has gifted us with a new system brought by the non-indigenous. I don't use the NHS service in England. I also have a private medical service. And because I use my own, remember, I've been there since the age of 17. I see myself as a motor car. You take yourself into the Western system, they'll start dismantling your life. So I stick to my Mumagbo. Doubt. So, madam, I want to put a special appeal. Please. The decolonization is what should be your agenda. So the system you are in, decolonize it. Then you will find out that you will improve access into what would have been a dental service of our own, involving our own, that will be in our way. I rest my case.
Dr. Faleye. After Dr. Faleye, would please allow us to hear from Professor Ajibade because he has to leave now. But Dr. Faleye.
Mama Watuashe Ekabo. I'd like to congratulate everyone for listening to this. Let me also start by congratulating you, Ma, that it's a well-taught presentation. I am Adeola Faleye. I remember when I was very young, I used Edu, I used Pankpashile, and that Pankpashile is actually broken, we all know ceramics, panded or grinded, and we use it. To kudos to my mother of blessed memory, who used different facets and types of orin ibile, orin ayan. Ayin is also medicinal and it's also spiritual. So this they say ayin lo ni emu temi yimi, ayin ni mo run le fi n to to si mi yimi, e ma je nse nkan tan lai yimi, mo rin ayin e ma yimi so. It has some medicinal component. It also has some spirituality. I want to differ a little that talking about spirituality is not relevant. It is very relevant. So I want to agree with you, ma. I also want to talk about the issue of complementarity of the total hub of the head, the teeth, the mouth, like you said. Listen to this. Lasabansalan sote lari eyin ole nikan deran je or ahan ole nikan deran je. That tells you can't look at feet alone, like someone rightly said. I want to support that view. When you are reviewing your work, look at the teeth, the tongue, and the entirety of the hub that makes the head. But I'm agreeing with you on one note, that your paper must be focused. You're looking at it from the dentistry perspective. It is not a misnomer that look at that. I was recently in Abidjan, and I found out that there is a dental paste made of charcoal. I bought quite a number of them home. So that is still in use. Like our mama said, I think you can look at what we had. Now you want to add to what is in contemporary world to now advance your logic. Finally, I'd like to also say that the issue of complementarity of the hub of this is essential to your study, because I am a customer of the dentistry. Yes, but yet I think going back to the traditional form, the medicinal way, those elements we use is not a misnomer. It helps faster. You were talking about a G, and this is the open teeth. Eyin pipa, eyin fifa, eyin fifa. They're all contextual within beauty and aesthetics in Yoruba settlement, which is not a stigmatization like you said. But you were talking about stigmatization. I want you to look at that very well. On the final note is the eyin. I want to differ a little with our discussant, with all respect, my professor. It has two connotations. When you give birth to a child who has eyin, it has some denotation and connotations. We can use it positively and negatively. I want to agree with you, ma'am, that in the ancient time, when we have child born of eyin or growing eyin, first, nobody announces that. They actually hide it. I have evidences. But in some other context, like he rightly said, like Professor Ajibade rightly said, two contexts is where we use that. It could be positive because most of what they say comes to pass unless they do not utter it out. So I think I want to agree with you. You can look at it positively or negatively. I remain Adeola Faleye.
So, Prof, while Professor Ajibade will be making his intervention, Professor Ebun Oluwa Oduwole will be getting ready to speak. But please just hold on for Professor Ajibade to...
Thank you once again for the opportunity given to me. I want to respond to what Dr. Bernard raised the other time. It has little or nothing to this study, simply because the idea of a Yemeka is not a Yoruba cultural practice. And when you look at the focus of this paper, is a kind of interplay between the modern ways of treating the dental issues and the indigenous ways. So It's not in our culture. It's a foreign idea. So it has nothing to do with Yoruba practice, indigenous practice. Yeah, on this note, I want to make this final remark, Madam, concerning the title of the work. Though I've said it before, that is the issue of dental. And yeah, I think you need to seek more data that has to do directly with dental instead of looking at the buccal cavity as a whole. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. So let's allow Professor Oduwole to please speak. Please unmute.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I want to acknowledge that I'm one of the authors of this paper, of this presentation, of this research work. And I just want to make one or two things clear, that the paper has a focus. And if care is not taken, we'll be moving beyond our focus, because there is a lot to discuss on everything that has to do with the mouth, the eyin, the ahon, and so on. So in as much as we will want to look at, I hope you are listening, please.
Yes, we can hear you. Please just speak a little louder.
Okay. So in as much as we will want to broaden our horizon, we still don't want to go beyond the focus of the paper. And I want to thank all those who have made contributions, and particularly to Erelu, if I'm right. In Yoruba culture, it is dynamic. And because the culture is dynamic, we also tend to look at decolonize the culture. And when we are talking about decolonization of the culture, which is not the focus of this paper, but when we are talking about decolonization, there are two aspects of decolonization. There is the positive aspect and there is the negative aspect. And when we are talking about the negative aspect, when we are talking about the positive aspect, we are talking about those aspects which we need to showcase. And when we are talking about the negative aspect, we are talking about those aspects which are anachronistic, and we may want to have a second look at it and also parlay them here and there to make them to be able to stand in the contemporary society. So that's my contribution. I want to thank everybody for adding value to this paper, and to thank Professor Morenike Okpong for doing justice to the paper in the presentation. Thank you.
We would like to thank you very much, sir. Ma, thank you, Prof. So I don't know if we have more. Okay. Oh, sorry, Professor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, a few quick ones. I want to agree that necessarily the paper has to be focused. And I think the authors have given the paper a kind of focus. And in as much as all of these other comments could be looked into, but they must be looked into in such a way that the focus of the paper is not distorted. Now, I want to appreciate the use of the health belief model in explaining the adoption of dental care. It's a good one, and the authors may want to even harp more on that in explaining how well the people around here have adopted the use of modern dental care. A number of assertions were made. I know in a presentation like this, You might not have all the time to present data, but it would be good that some of these assertions are backed up with relevant data, so that we don't assume that these are just out of personal experiences or hearsay. Thank you. Now I want to ask, how effective? Perhaps you might want to take it as at some other levels of study, because people keep asking, making comments about traditional ways of dental care. But my question is, how effective are these traditional ways of dental care? Now, let's look at the use of PACO, for instance. Yes, we know we use PACO, but the question is, how, not only asking how effective is the use of PACO, but the question again is it ideal that PACO is used? I grew up in the village, and I do know that there are some PACOs that you use that will change the color of your teeth permanently. There's nothing you can do to reverse it. Yes. And I do know that there are some you use that may not necessarily change the color permanently, but then the whiteness of the teeth is distorted, and it becomes a yellowish sort of, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, lastly, talking about patronage again. I will want the authors to, maybe for further studies, talking about patronage, the question is, how available are these dental services? Some of us that have patronized dental clinics, maybe we did because we have dentist friends. I've seen them twice, and I saw them on the 2 occasions because I have friends who are dentists. First time was Dr. Tayo James, who just invited me to his clinic to check my teeth. The second is Professor Esson, who also invited me to his clinic. But how available? You might want to collaborate with people in GIS, maybe Department of Geography, to see to the issue of availability of all of these dental services. This could even be mapped so that with the click of a computer, you see, you have a spatial perspective to all of these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Babatime. Please come closer because of the cable.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. My own aspect of this contribution is on cultural researches. My name is Akande Matthew Olushade, alias Baba Fajo for life. I'm a cross-cultural and intercultural global researcher. In your presentation, which is very robust and demands for further collaborative job. Number one, you told us vividly this evening that your research work gave us an insight on mouth is an ancient authority, isn't it? Thank you. Number two is cultural significance. But in your presentation, you have not received much on this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Professor Olukweloye, please. And then.
Yeah, thank you so much, the presenter, and then all the contributors so far. Okay, so I enjoyed the presentation, and I want to ask just maybe some kind of elaboration of what has happened. Now, talking about the modern and then the tradition, is that not a place where the two could be combined? For instance, I knew when I was still very small, I was very stubborn. I was not. Okay, noted. Okay, so I will use this swing stick, and my teeth became so black, and then so black and so big. This was when I was in secondary school that they dragged me to the seashore, water around the pond. They were using what? Sand. So, and I was conscious of that. I was going there every morning so that they won't be calling me names when I go to secondary school. So I thought things like this. When we look at it, you see, go to the villages nowadays, there are still people like me. Then you find them there, and you can use this system to help them. Then there are also some twin states. I know that somebody, I told you I'm not a Yoruba man. We call it Oni Alata. Maybe that's a name for it. Now, okay, fine. So can those things be used together with the modern way of doing things? Then while you were talking about your data collection, you said somebody said that he or she has what could be used to take care of it. I think you can also explore things like that and then bring them together to help us in this area. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'm no longer stuck on you. I'm not going again.
Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, I would like to appreciate the presenter, our prof, for the job well done. And I must tell you that I'm one of the contributors. Yes, thank you for representing us well, ma. In addition to what Prof just said, Professor Oripeloye, concerning the, how we can balance the two together, how we can bridge the gap between the traditional one and the Western one. There was a time, maybe, I don't know, if we can emulate what happened in the pharmacy, Faculty of Pharmacy. There was a time, Professor Elijah, they had one village chemist. Yeah, so I want to let us look at it from that angle. If we can come up with something like that, and we should look for a way of marketing it, of telling people, of creating awareness. Thank you very much. My name is Akonde Iyabode. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Okay. Okay. My name is Okwadotun Yetunde. I have a question. Okwadotun Yetunde. I have a question, or should I say more of a concern, as regards the Western solution to our dental problems and the traditional as well. For example, in our society today, we see it as a stigma, or more like, maybe we say body shaming, when we see people with teeth that have the protruding dental structure. And if peradventure we find ourselves in a situation where we have to be abusive, you hear words of habits like "koto sheyin ben yoko joba." That sounds like you trying to body shame the person, and they have to, fall back to the Western solution, then become about using braces. And then also when you see people with probably yellow teeth or any kind of discoloration or dents on the teeth, they choose to go for the veneer option today, even though it's expensive. They don't mind, because of recent I learned that a tooth will cost much like 300,000 just to whiten. So how much will it cost to whiten the entire teeth? So I want to ask, in the past, do we have solutions to dental issues like that? If we don't, which means we still have to embrace the Western solution to make us happy and find solutions to our problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And thanks for the presentation, ma. I'm happy to be part of the cohort, the project. I think I've learned a lot of things too. I mean, as a Yoruba man from the north, Professor Ajibade, I'm a Kogi man from Professor Oye's village or City of Light. Ansheniti. Yoruba people from the north. But sincerely, I've learned a lot of things about the language, the call, but I'm more interested in the music, you know. And like someone said, we need to bring some data, maybe play some music, maybe that one we help to show some of our data we've gathered. Maybe that will help so that to not be as if we are just, you know, putting some jingoism, some things that maybe because like the like by jazz music, you know, that one we showcase, you know, the people here, you can see different types of teeth, black, brown, yellow, red, and green, you know, and then the use of Paco, even and then the toothbrush, you know, and then, you know, the aesthetics, and then, you know, the things about it. So that's just my suggestion.
Thank you very much. My question would arise from just one, from this music, and I want you to watch it. That penny is where I want us to look at. I don't know whether Dr. Bernard is still listening. But do you still want to make? Okay, the hand is down. Okay.
I'm still raising my hand.
Oh, okay, you are still raising your hand. Okay. Thank you. We will recognize you soon, but we are here to get there. We are not seeing it now. Okay. No matter condition,
show me your 32 boy now. Mo mọ̀ pé yín wà lábẹ́ ètè yẹn, ò bá jẹ́ àrí. Àbí ọ̀rọ̀ dépò díẹ̀ mi. Smile on your face, no matter.
Maybe we should just end. I just have 3 questions arising from this video. Now, is it necessary that it must be 32? Is it necessary that it must be 32? That is it natural? Then are there situations that naturally too that some don't get up to 32? And is it a misnomer if you don't have your teeth up to 32? Second is about diseases that affect the teeth. You talk about the one that was mentioned there, Yoro. Now, in your presentation, I was expecting more of these diseases. Now, akokoro, and many of these will be. It will be interesting to learn. I would like to know the differences in among these diseases and possibly the cure. Now, again, another point made in that video, we didn't get to the end where I wanted to see the point there. That man that was being taunted to deliberately closed his mouth with his lips. And it appears that the lips now becomes a kind of cover until the man was eventually harassed to open his teeth. And when that was done, it appeared that there was something he was covering. Now, that means that the lips has more value to the teeth than any other part of the mouth. It has more value. So I'd like you to look at these inputs as you make your remarks. But please, before you come up, Doctor, then we have more colleagues on the online. Dr. Bernard would like to speak one more time. Then Professor Omobola Ajayi Soyinka would also like to make a remark. So please, Dr. Bernard, please make it snappy. Thank you.
Thank you, for letting me come back again. I wanted to, in case Professor Okon did not hear what I asked before, my question was not about Enyemeka. My question was about veneers, and I'm sure she heard that. And I say veneers, and I asked the question because there are many things that in our culture that we have become so used to that we don't even know they are foreign anymore. And research has shown this fact that there are things that we call, it's very, very Yoruba, and they are foreign, they were imported to us. So there may have been in the past when people lose their teeth, they found ways of giving them new teeth. You are the dentist, you may have, I don't know, but my question was about now we have, there are things that used to be in vogue, went away, and then they came back. So and there are things that stay with us, but they've been improved on. One of them could be these veneers where veneers are now very, very cosmetic. It's not even when people have problems with their teeth. It's just because, I don't like the way my teeth is structured. I need to get very straight or very good structure of teeth. Get it done. Eventually, they ruin their own teeth. So my question was that if we're talking about synergizing what is traditional and what is modern, I'm sure that in another 100 years, somebody will be telling you that veneers are very, very traditional to Yoruba people because it probably would have become so used to us. So my question was that, is there a way? I know the project is also long-term, that at some point, two things. What is your opinion about your comments on Yoruba tradition and veneers as it's being used now? And then in the long run, what also do you think that, is there a way to actually put this into the project as one of the objectives of the project? That was my question. It was not about Enyemeka. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the clarification. So please let's Professor Soyinka mute. Please.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Good evening, Lodoyin. I do apologize. I missed the presentation because I had another meeting. I came straight from another meeting. But from the gist I got in the questioning, I think I follow a little bit, but forgive me if I'm repeating some of the things that you have said. I think that, so I'm putting out my own personal perspective. I think that in our traditions, not just Yoruba tradition alone, in many other African cultures, we do value our teeth. Yes, we do value our teeth. We refashion them. I think there is a nation in the northern part of North Africa, not the Asian, not the Arabian ones, where they file their teeth to sharp points just to show, it was fashionable then. So that was part of it. And I'm happy that reference has been made to the music, Ole Fenye. If we look at early literatures, we see how clean teeth, white teeth have been lauded and, added to the description of some desirable man or woman. Then I grew up using chewing sticks. I don't think I used toothbrush and toothpaste until my undergraduate days, but I still prefer chewing sticks. And so each time I traveled abroad, when I was still living in Nigeria, I would take Bako Jabu, Oriata, and the yellow one. Those were my favorites. Then once I was in Senegal, I saw this, they were selling the chewing sticks. And I said, what is this? This is for chewing sticks. So I bought some. I went home, used the chewing stick, and later I looked in the mirror. My gums were jet black. I almost passed out. So what happened? What happened? And then finally, I said, oh, maybe it's the chewing sticks because I've never used them before. So I stopped using those chewing sticks. I really like using chewing sticks. I still use, although I'm more dependent on toothpaste and toothbrush. One more point. I remember in the 60s and 70s, whenever a group of, and I did a lot of traveling with groups of Nigerians to the US, to England. Their first comment about us was, oh, see how white your teeth are. They used to admire our teeth. We were not using any, I don't know what veneer is. I missed that. But, this was because we took care of our teeth and we're using chewing sticks. That was my age group. But now, we drink a lot of tea, a lot of coffee, eat too much candy, and forget to brush our teeth as we are supposed to. So that's my little bit of very much.
Thank you very much. I mean, this has been brilliant discussion, the very, very thing that we wanted as a team. And I'm sure all my co-researchers online and on the ground would very much appreciate this. Please note that this is an expanding study. Why is it an expanding study? One of the things you'll find in the literature is the difficulty in studying culture as a cause of disease. For most biomedical, you're always counting. The qualitative aspect is poorly understood up to capture. It's growing in the field. But even in this, the cultural aspect is poorly understood. So this is the beginning of the field for us. And in beginning it was, I couldn't have taken Nigeria. I had to take Yoruba. Even in that Yoruba, we have to try and contextualize. So it's brilliant. I take it away as we're going, and I'm sure our team members are all recording, that we might also need to focus. We appreciate that the mouth is more than the teeth, but know that the lip is not all there is. Even the saliva is a big thing for the teeth. If you go and look at anybody that doesn't have saliva in the mouth, all the teeth will have O. So even between the lip and if you ask me, what will I choose to lose, lip or saliva? I'll probably lose the lip because I can wet it, but the saliva is more dangerous. So yes, I completely agree with you. That's the whole context. So we will go back and look at what it means in terms of focusing and deciding that maybe we are looking at teeth rather than mouth, or look at the way where we synchronize it. Thank you very much, Bumi, about the veneer. I very much believe with you. One of the things as I listen to you, and I know as we are growing as a team, please know that we're a culture, community of practice, and anybody here that wants to continue to engage with us is very much welcome. In terms of the veneer, one of the things I think has happened, and it's something that we might have to write in another paper, is how all of a sudden there's increasing uptake of veneer use even in the community. This is one of the things that The dentists, even in Nigeria, are fighting now because normal people, routine people are taking up the use of veneer. But I also think when I'm reflecting on this, it's because we also prioritize whiteness of the teeth. And in that demand for the whiteness, even as cheap as Auntie Emma Long, next. I want to answer your question next. So she's moving. Okay. I want to answer. Okay. I show Mom, really do it was brilliant engagement. So well, I think it is in prioritizing the whiteness of the teeth that the demand for veneers have really gone up. But will that be only an issue among the Yorubas, or is this something that we want generally? I think that is a question I cannot answer now, because in focusing on Yoruba, we might find out the things we are finding in Yoruba is also the same in other cultures. So that is, I think that's a good, but yes, there is an increase in demand of veneer. There is even looking for this veneers, even in cheap ways, and many people are doing this work that are not dentists. So why is this happening? We might want to look at it. Having done that, I'll link it to Professor Fashiku's issue around the last thing you said, white teeth and Africa. It's not white teeth and Yoruba. It's white teeth and the black. I think God created us in a way that when you are black, your teeth is white. When you are white, your teeth is yellow. I think there's a creation like that. Check it. It's not just the Yoruba. It's the natural thing. But I don't know the word to yes. But you find out that as you grow older, your teeth get darker. And there's a physiology to it you can explain. So it will be abnormal when you see somebody at 60 and the teeth is white. You might not, a dentist will understand what has happened immediately, but you just see it's abnormal. Or at 60, your teeth are all straight. It's abnormal because teeth itself moves normally. So a 60-year-old person cannot have a straight teeth. A 60-year-old person cannot have a white teeth. Yes, so a dentist will spot it. But you might feel, this is odd, but we can explain. If I see a 60 or 70-year-old, everything is white and straight, I would say this person is using a denture. So even those that are doing denture also use those colors because there's a natural process to teething. So, but what you find that in the indigent population is that although it's white, it is dirty. There's something, and I met my father, he had a special knife because he knew how to remove that dirt. My father knows how to do it very well. We call it, it's white, it sticks at the bottom of the teeth and then it gradually gets black as we eat. So that is the one that is problematic. Many people might not see it. We don't see, when we do the chewing stick, we emphasize the front and then the back is dead. Yes, that is what the sand can remove. But the sand and the charcoal and the grated ceramic, because it is abrasive. But the danger of the abrasive is that it starts to remove the teeth itself, small by small, and it becomes sensitive. So there's a goodness and a badness that we must have to balance. And please know that even that goodness, you find out that I use, in the market now, there's plenty charcoal toothpaste. It's plenty. Even I also had one. But so it's that balancing that we need to do. Just to say, yes, we're taking a lot of things away. This is many things. We can't finish everything here. I'm very much on decolonization, and I write decolonization. What we're doing is start to generate the evidence on culture, the value of culture, and the need to integrate culture to the normal thinking. That's what we're doing. It's not in any way saying that culture is negative. We just must know what we have to take. Integrate it to the Western, because there is positiveness in the Western. I think Yetunde, somebody, Yetunde or Dotu, yes, noted that. So we can't throw it away. It's just that we must integrate it well to empower our culture in a way that it must be acknowledged and written. So that is decolonization. And yes, it's telling Mama Erelu that we're looking at. Thanks for encouraging about the spiritual. We might want to take it forward in terms of the spiritual and the many things that we have heard. We will come back to many of you. That's why I was taking note of names. And please, once again, those values that come, we are open to expanding, because our process, this meeting is part of the process, and we're open to continuing to engage with you as part of our study, and those excellent inputs will come back to everybody one-on-one to take it forward, even on the paper. We'll bless you, and on behalf of my entire team, those online, I hope I'm speaking for you, and those on the ground, I hope I'm speaking for you. We are very much interested in. It's not, our team has no specialty. We have people that are lay persons, and this is what culture means, and being able to make it work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'd like to take the closing remarks from the chairman, and then we'll close for the day. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think all of us have learned something. A lot, actually. Robustly. To use the language of my former deputy provost, who used to entertain us in the PG board with a lot of robust literature words. Yes, I want to thank the speakers, particularly Professor Upong. We were deans together in those days, and she has now gone higher. Her research contributions were recognized by the university, and she was made, is it director of research or something? Yes, and yes, yes, Central Office of Research. She's an embodiment of research, and the paper that has been presented is something that I would not have expected from a dentist. Of course, I know that there are many people in the team here who have made a lot of robust contributions. Very well done, ma. And the other speaker too, I'm not surprised. You have done very well, and I look forward to the paper. And the assignment given me by the director, I will start researching from now. Yes. Including consulting my late father's PhD thesis, which has a lot of discussion on things like that. It's good to be back in the humanities. That's where I grew up. I grew up in the humanities, but something took me somewhere else. So I'm back home. I want to thank everybody who has come. I am encouraged to keep on coming. Before, I've been getting messages, but now I'm encouraged to come. And I believe that the type of discussion we have had is very enlightening. Very, very enlightening. Charcoal. Somebody talked about charcoal, for example. You know, there are now a lot of toothpastes being sold, even in Ife here, that have charcoal. I bought one myself. And it's here that I learned that Yorubas were even using charcoal before. Yes. Although the dentist may not approve of it. I understand. Yes, okay. Once it starts fluoride, it's okay. I understand. I Googled it and saw that it's good for teeth whitening, but it may not be good for some other things. So, and the discussion here is, so I want to again thank the director. You are doing well. In fact, he may not like hearing this, but anytime I see him, I say, even at the, he's even tried to introduce courses. Because I was at, even before that, academic planning committee. And he brought courses, postgraduate courses and so on to introduce. And it was my pleasure to be able to introduce something to the curriculum because I'm in the built environment. And there's something about how Yorubas build their houses. You know, there's a way we build the houses in stages. First of all, one stage up to here, then another stage, and so on and so forth. And we, in learning culture, we also need to learn the built environment culture. And I'm happy that it was taken at development committee and so on and so forth. So I want to encourage us to come again. I too am now born again. Born again to be coming for this type of program. Very enlightening. Thank you for putting it together, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor. We would like to thank our colleagues online who joined us all over the world. At a point, we have close to 60, 70 of them. We want to thank you very much for coming. I'd like to thank on-site participants all the way from town. Let me first of all appreciate our chief, Chief Gbenga Omiwole. We want to thank you very much, sir, for taking time to call. We appreciate you. I'd like also to thank all our senior professors, Professor A.T. Akonde. Thank you very much for being here. And then Papa, who sat down quietly, Professor Drosimi, thank you very much, sir, for coming. We appreciate you. Then, just as we are closing, we'll be having another round of seminar in February. We have another one in March, and we have another one in April. Even when I was saying last night that May is open, someone in anatomy called me to say, please, can I present a paper on the deads? I said, you are welcome. So we will be glad to listen to a paper on the deaths in May. So which means that from now to May, we are fully booked. And so we'll be releasing the titles one after the other. I will be glad, just like our born again chairman, we'll be glad to have you here to be part of this intellectual exercise, which is probably what our Institute of Cultural Study wants to be known for, as a hub, as an intellectual hub, where every one of us can gather together and at least get something going. Once more, let me thank my technical team. Thank you very much, guys. You've been very wonderful. The cameramen, the guys on the Zoom, and everyone who have made this great. I'm sorry about the atmosphere here, because I'm sure we are aware in the university we not have the power since around 10 a.m. and we are hoping that there will be improvement in our infrastructure. So on that note, once more, I want to thank everyone and then invite you again in February to be part of ICS webinar series. Thank you very much. Thank you.